Hello viewers, and welcome to another episode of Reminiscences. This time from Gombe, where our guest is Alhaji Ibrahim Yerima Abdullahi, Sarkimbai of Gombe. And many of you remember a banker, administrator, former Minister of Education, and elder statesman who has traversed many areas of Nigerian life. Sarkimbai, I want to welcome you.
Thank you.
And start with the obvious question of early education. I believe you started here in Gombe. Can you give us a little insight into that early start?
It was really the early one. Thank you very much. And by the way, I welcome you here. Not only in Gombe, but here in home. And it was an interesting situation. But in those days, there weren't too many schools to choose. You go to school because they draft you into a situation. And we had the elementary school here in Gombe. And I was drafted into it. But initially, I pushed myself into it. And so there's no question of drafting, because I was pushed there by some forces. But eventually, when I went, the headmaster, our great headmaster, Mala Hamsan, our father, said I was too small. So I forcibly came back home and spent a melancholy year waiting for the next one. Because I know when I've been following the idea, making the effort to go to school, whenever he took the students for the year, pupils for the year, he'll have to bring them to the emir. And I know which way he followed. So look around. I went, and he didn't see me, but I had the impression that he would also repeat the same thing, kind of thing. So I decided to run away. And I came back near to the palace, where I know they will bring the other students. And I sneaked myself into the student group. And when the emir came out and invited the headmaster with his pupils, new intake, I found myself right in front of the emir. In one side, the headmaster, the elementary, the other side, the headmaster. So, and I was also lucky to have been noticed by the emir himself, who said, because he knew what happened. I said, have you this time around joined? I said, yes, sir. And in front of the headmaster. So that's how I got enrolled in the elementary school. Anyway, the only secondary school, the primary school, elementary school. And we went on until 1951, when we passed to the middle school. And it was amazing that up to that time, there was nowhere in Gombe where you can have a full primary school. So we were taken to the Bauchi Middle School, 1952, January. I think it was the same, about the time when Queen Elizabeth of England was installed as the Queen. Yes. And we didn't know that in fact they were planning to open a senior primary school here in Gombe. And they did, by poaching on the teachers in Bauchi Middle School, and brought late Waziri Gombe, Alhaji Waziri of blessed memory. He came to open the school, and even the native authority was not ready. So the hostel was the house of senior visiting teacher, Malan Jauro Gombe of blessed memory. He led a very prosperous life, very good life. But in those days, he gave his own house where the initial students stayed. Some of us, we have already gone to Bauchi. And in Bauchi, I didn't pass the examination in my second year. So I had for the 3 years, for the second year. That was what they call the middle two. And from there, I passed to the then government secondary schools in Zaria. And the government secondary school was only among the 6 secondary schools in the whole of the northern states. And this included 4 of the missionary schools. And the one in Barewa, now Barewa, and the Kefi. So the schools are not just there for you to pick and choose. And by the way, you don't have a lot to choose from, so you don't have to pay. It was the government who was pushing, but the missionaries were opening these schools, at least 4 of them. And of course, the community school, like Offa Grammar School, was among the 6 schools. So we went to Zaria, and we ended up in 55, in 59. And when I came back again, the native authority drafted me to the engineering, as an engineering assistant at the Gombe Native Authority Works Department. I didn't even know that they already booked me and the 2 others in the technical college in Kaduna. The 3 of them, the 3 of us, 2 are now of blessed memory. That includes the Emir of Gombe, late Shehu Abubakar, and Salihu Abubakar. Salihu Bubero, not Bubero, but Salihu of the son of the Galadima at that time.
So the 3 of you went to Kaduna, the Kaduna College?
No. We went to go there, Kaduna Technical College.
Yes.
By the way, it was not our choice.
Yes.
As I said, we were drafted.
Yes.
Salihu had the courage to go away. He said he preferred to go to the Nigerian college. So the 2 of us remained and did part of our course and came back, and then spent some time doing practical work. And we did practical work. Gombe Division, now Gombe State, was divided into 2. The southern part, Shehu Abubakar was in charge. The northern part, I was in charge. In terms of roads maintenance, road construction, culverts, schools construction, dispensaries, any engineering work. We were after our technical experience. And we came back. As I said, I was drafted in very interesting. And I did my practical work of 15 months here. And I went back to complete the course by September 52. When I went, I found that another situation. The Sardana in his government has selected 30 students from all over northern states to go for the ADO's course. assistant district officer's course. And I didn't know, but it happened that there was nobody from Bauchi province there. And by the way, Gombe at that time was under.
Yes.
And somehow I just dropped in dropped into Kaduna, and I found that Kaduna has said somebody has to be brought from Bauchi, because Bauchi people petitioned. How can he select 30 students without anybody from Bauchi? I think he directed that somebody must be brought. And I found that somebody at the Civil Service Commission was looking or inviting people from Bauchi, at least those who have some kind of secondary education. And I was asked to come over if I had my school certificate. That one I was sure I had it. And the guy, I always go everywhere with it. And it happened that among those from Bauchi in those days, about 10 of us, I was the only one with 5 credits in school certificate. And that was qualified me to be taken for the course.
This part of your career is not well known.
I was staff of the Native Authority, Gombe. But remember, that is like a local government today. The northern Nigeria government was the Ogakotakota of all governments. Yes. You know? So they did what they wanted. They wanted 30 ADOs of these backgrounds and got them. Later on, they sorted it out. And they didn't sort it out until when eventually, after 20 years, I was forced to retire from the northern Nigeria civil service. Because from that course of ADO, I joined the northern Nigeria government. I was posted to Sokoto province, Birnin-Kebbi, Yauri, Argongo, Gusau.
Yes, ADO, DO.
Mainly ADO.
ADO.
Yes. By 1954, no, 60.
Yeah.
64. I was deployed from Sokoto province to Borno province. And when you are posted, no questions are asked. I went to Borno province, Maiduguri first, and from there I was posted to View. Incidentally, I must mention this. The roads are not only unpassable, but they are just there. Geographical locations, you can find your way. From View, I was moved to Potiskum. I ran the two, Potiskum and View. Eventually, around October 65, I was posted to Bama, what they call Dikwa province in those days. And it's very interesting that on the day the military intervened, 15th January 66, I was in the famous Rabe guest house in Dikwa, because Dikwa was his headquarters. And I was writing my annual report for the previous year. And I didn't know what was happening. And during the fasting, I spent the whole night without sleeping. And of course, in those days, we were small kids, young people. We drove ourselves. So after, in fact, we didn't graduate into traveling with radio, small pocket radios. So I had to go back to Bama from Dikwa. And I went to Bama, and I found that there had been a coup. and the Sardauna, Tafa Balewa, Akintola, and many of our professional military chiefs were killed that night.
And you have lost your job?
No, I have not lost my job.
Okay.
They appointed Ironsi was the head of the state and government. Hassan Usman Katina was made the governor of northern Nigeria. So
you continued as a civil
continued
servant.
that way.
Were you married at this time? All these movements from one place to the other. At what point did you
get
start
married?
a family? Yes.
Well, I don't know whether I got married or they got me married. But if we got married traditionally here, they choose a wife for you. And before I even finished my secondary school, I've got a girl that I was going to marry. And they did it within their own circle, our own circle. The son of this boy, the son of this would marry the daughter of this. So before I even finished my secondary school, they reserved a wife for me. Fortunately. Unfortunately for her, we married, all right. We had 7 children. My elder children. Well, I know maybe you are the same age with some of them. And but she died many years ago.
At what point in your career did you leave the civil service and become a banker, which is what a lot of people know you for?
All right.
Yes.
Now you see, in the civil service, they encourage us for training. You go to school, you get training, professional, technical, whatever training, etc. And I was in northeast. I was posted secondary rather to Nigerian Livestock and Meat Authority to serve as the secretary of the authority in Kaduna. By the way, they never consulted me. They just put question of post in those days. So I moved to Kaduna. And from Kaduna, one of the benefits, USAID sent in offers. And I was sent to do a master's degree in an institute they call Arthur D. Little Institute of Management Education in Boston, USA. And that's where I went to. And from there, when I came back, I asked this time around. I went back to the Northeast. And I was working there in the ministry now.
Yes.
As Senior Assistant Secretary, Principal Assistant Secretary, Deputy Permanent Secretary, and so on. And they gave me Permanent Secretary 1975 when Buhari, the President Buhari, was acting permanent, was the governor, military governor in the Northeast. Yes. But when I worked for, I enjoyed being a permanent secretary because in those days you had a lot of freedom of thought and the freedom of action.
So were you in Maiduguri?
Yes.
The job in Maiduguri, yes.
Yes. Well, my assignment in Northeast, in the Livestock and Meat Authority, finished and went back to my base, which is Northeastern State. And they appointed Buhari as then I think he was a Lieutenant Colonel.
Yes, Lieutenant Colonel.
Right.
Yes.
And let me veer a little bit. Very interesting the way I met him. I was in charge of the department which included protocol. It was not exclusively protocol, but I was in charge of the department I was not yet made a permanent secretary, but I was supervising the permanent secretary's office. And they were organized the reception of Buhari. When he came in, we brought him over to the government house in those days. One thing about Buhari is what has remained indelible in my mind. That day, he didn't know us. And the instruction from Lagos was that when Buhari is brought in, the same plane should take back the former governor, Musa Usman. That was left to me to arrange. And I arranged it. And I sent a car and escort to take our former governor to the airport. When he was to leave, he requested that he wanted to say goodbye to the new governor. And of course, nobody can say yes or no. So they came to the government house. And naturally, they came to me. The governor, I was sitting there. The next was my Oga, the secretary of the government. The next was the new governor. And they whispered into my ears that the outgoing governor wanted to say bye. And of course, I could not just push aside my own Oga to go to the governor directly. So I went, I told my Oga that Musa Usman wanted to say bye-bye. And on his own, he said, no, let him go. Somehow it was instinctively for me. I got lost. And I didn't know when I shrieked. And that shriek drew the attention of the new governor. He said, what is it? I said, yes, sir. It was the situation of yes, sir. I said, no, it's the former governor who wanted to say goodbye to the new governor. But a situation does not accommodate this. Then the new governor said, who said so? I said, nobody. I mean, how can I accuse my Oga? He knew where we spoke.
Yes, you could see.
He said, the comment that Buhari did was what endeared him to me. He said, this man going away has spent 9 years in this house. Now he has to go. And he won't see me. How can I say? It's Allah who brought him, yes, who took him out, and Allah brought me. How can I say he can't see him? Where is he? I said, he's outside. Let me come over. So I went out and brought Musa Usman and took him to a place. And Buhari went. I was amazed that Buhari could do that kind of thing in spite of his secretary of government saying no. Very remarkable.
Many people know about your friendship with Buhari, and the assumption was that it started in Jos.
No.
When you are a banker and you are associating with him.
No.
Yeah.
It started here. We knew each other in Jos. But that episode
Very good.
Started building up the friendship. Because I was disarmed. I was impressed by somebody who appreciated that it is Allah who brought him here and Allah who took the other one out.
You found yourself in Jos as an area manager of the bank.
Yeah.
And he was there as a GOC. Did you reconnect from the old days?
We did. If I may come back a little bit.
Yes.
More states were created. And I had to come back to my home state. At that time, Bauchi State.
Yes.
But remember, I've mentioned that by July 1975, I was appointed permanent secretary in the Northeast.
Yes.
So I came back to Bauchi as a permanent secretary.
Yes.
But then the human nature, I thought I need a change. I enjoyed being a permanent secretary, and I think in all modesty, I achieved a lot. I was the first permanent secretary, Minister of Works in Bauchi State. I was the permanent secretary in Minister of Local Government in Bauchi State during the reforms. And I think I've done quite a lot to get through the state, to establish the state, Bauchi State. But after I do that, I thought I should have a change. At that time, I felt I was still young.
Yes.
Because I was barely 40.
Yes.
But I didn't have the courage to write and say I've resigned. Because there are so many things coming in through my mind. But what else? After the elections, Alhaji
What is the 79 election?
Right.
Right.
Was elected.
Yes.
And he found me as a permanent secretary. And he was a civil servant. There I met him in the lower ranks of administration. I think it was a senior. We were going to Lagos. They were the permanent secretaries in Lagos. But when he came here, I was a permanent secretary. But he went around and he appointed me among his commissioners. And that I didn't like.
You didn't like to be a commissioner?
No, I didn't.
Why?
Because I felt that I can achieve quite a lot as a permanent secretary. And I think I felt I did in getting Bauchi State take off.
Yes.
And I can still see my handwork in Bauchi, not just in Bauchi town, but all over. The kind of improvement we did within a short time.
So you quit because you are asked to be commissioner?
Yes, I wanted to go away. And he said, I told him, no sir, I can't be commissioner. He said, you have to be commissioner. And there's also the personal thing. He's a personal friend of my elder brother. And he sent for my elder brother. And the center used the domestic stick. So I stayed. That passed anyway. Eventually, I said, I think I've done enough. I should look for greener pastures.
And this is the back?
Yes.
Yes.
I applied to the UBA. I told you I went to Asadil Institute of Management Education. And the UBA took me straight away as a principal manager. And by the way, the principal manager, in terms of remuneration, was slightly better than that of the commissioner. You know?
Yes.
But no, that's not the only attraction. The attraction is the opportunity for another career. And I've left that one. I felt satisfied that I think I've achieved quite a lot in the civil service of northern Nigeria, northeast, and the Bauchi State. So I decided I'll try that.
So tell us about the just days as a banker and this story with Buhari, which many people know, because it seems eventually it launched you into the national scene as commissioner, a minister. There are a lot of people associate that with your friendship with Buhari from Jos.
Well, I don't see it that way, but acquaintance, yes, in those days.
He didn't treat you like a former staff from former staff of his from Maiduguri?
No, well, I don't know, but at least he knew me. He has never evaded or avoided accepting that we know each other. But I can't see him influencing me in my job as an area manager. And of course, there was no way I could influence him as a military man. But with his friends, yes, we did. But eventually, there was something, the coup. And we heard that he was appointed the head of state.
Were you surprised?
No, I'm not. Because at that time, actually, Buhari gave me the impression that he was a kind of perfect human being, if there were going to be any. He had the intuition and also had the effort to work hard. And he was analytical capacity in those days was very good, was excellent. So I have always thought Buhari can certainly be the leader of this country.
For the nomination of minister,
I think
was this something that had to be done from the state?
I didn't know.
He made the decision.
I didn't know how. I didn't know how it happened.
But were you surprised?
I was invited.
You were surprised that suddenly you are a manager of a bank in Jos, and then you are asked to come and be a minister.
I was not surprised.
Sir?
I was not surprised. I was not surprised.
Yes.
Because as I said, in the civil service,
yes,
we have developed so much self-confidence in ourselves that we felt we could carry on any responsibility given to us. You see, youthful exuberance does a lot of things.
Yes.
Yes. But in the civil service, in the kind of training we had in the background training in the civil service, under the Sardana and up beyond that, we felt that even if you appoint me a head of state, I can carry on.
So how was it to be then a minister in Lagos for education of the whole country? Surely that would have given you some pause, some challenge.
It did. Great many. In fact, I never imagined myself as a minister. And they found me in their own way suitable to be a minister. As I said, with my background, any assignment given to me, I wouldn't run away from it. Any assignment, that's why we are trained in northern Nigeria.
Yes.
In northern Nigeria.
Yes.
Any assignment, we will carry it out. Of course, we are human beings, we cannot be perfect.
Yes.
But certainly there is no way you can run away from responsibility.
So what are the biggest challenges you faced when you were in that job?
Oh, many.
The one you can remember?
Many. First of all, that being a minister in Nigeria is overwhelming. And of all places, education. And I had to learn what is the Ministry of Education, what it is. And of course, we went on trying. I found some very, very good supporting staff in the Ministry of Education. I recall one Malam Yahya, who you used to call him Yahya Kaduna, but Malam Yahya Hamza.
Yes.
That he has died now,
yes,
but I will never forget him. He gave me absolute support. Absolute support. I tried to learn, to read a lot, to learn what is the Ministry of Education, with the various structures. When the time I came, there were 14 directorates in the Ministry of Education. And I thought, how can you run a place dealing with 14 different people? So my first idea was to restructure the ministry. And we structured it into 4 different directors general. So we appointed them instead of directors we appointed coordinating directors. And we grouped the directors, 4 of them or so. In fact, 5, but 4 include 4 different coordinating directories. And we selected those we considered the best who can run this. And of course, Malaya, of blessed memory, was the first appointed a coordinating director. We found 3 others. Being a Nigerian situation, you can't appoint all of them from one part of the country. But we did. And I think during my time, it worked very well. And, but of course, I saw my constituency was the whole of the country and the Ministry of Education. So in many cases, I remember the brilliant head we had in the whole university system. So I never hesitated in sending for A, sending for B, sending Professor Ibrahim Aminu. He worked for me very well because he was vice chancellor in Maiduguri. He was this and that, and he knew quite a lot. So I utilized them. I picked their brains. And I think during my time, I think I succeeded.
To be fair to you, also the government did not last very long. Even though you are not a military man, do you have an insight into why the Buhari government didn't last so long, why it was quickly changed by his colleagues?
This is their military politics.
Okay.
It's purely military politics.
You have no special insight into the reasons?
Well, you can pick here 1 or 2 here. But the main thing is that Buhari was very... He wasn't open-handed.
Yes.
So people couldn't make the extra naira from him. I believe this is the main reason. A lot of his colleagues wanted to grab, and he didn't have that inclination at that time. I think this is the main.
You said at that time. Are you saying you have seen things that have changed in the perfect Buhari?
You want us to talk about Buhari now?
No. It's a logical question that arises in our
but
conversation.
I knew Tunde Idiabon was the chief of staff. And they worked perfectly with Buhari. And the other thing is that people believed that they were not corrupt.
Yes.
So, when they were removed, people were not surprised. And those who inherited from them were certainly the opposite of them.
You are one of his well-known
I don't expect you.
friends.
You want me to ask? I
will ask.
Go ahead.
I think
I'm not inviting you to ask me.
The viewers will expect me to ask. What do you make of what is happening now? The Buhari you know, from those Northeast days, the time you served as minister, what are the challenges? What do you observe about the government?
I think every government will do with very hard-working, very deep-thinking support staff. It's not just merely a kitchen cabinet. Maybe you can stop there calling a kitchen cabinet. It's good for every head of government or head of government to have a strong kitchen cabinet. I think Buhari today has a problem with his kitchen cabinet. That does not include his ministers. Those who are closest to him. I think the problem started with them, or remains with them. So, otherwise, Buhari and Idiabon, they never tolerated any element of corruption. They are not human. They are not perfect. They have not been perfect. They are human beings, all right. But they never saw and deliberately ignored corruption.
Do you think that is happening now because of the kind of people in government?
I don't know, but I'm surprised at some of the things that come out of the government. A typical example that happened only last week, that some people were convicted after investigation and the trial, which the country accepted as something good. But suddenly it was announced that former governors, at least 2 of them,
Yes.
have been forgiven. That is a great surprise, because it will wipe out all the impressions and the efforts of corruption-free society. Because those investigations were done by the EFCC. And since they established the EFCC, people have become so worried, so scared, so afraid of the EFCC. The EFCC, but here the case of the EFCC investigating, finding ex-governors, sending them to court, and the court convicting them. One to about 12 years, the other one to so many years. And suddenly they've been forgiven.
Yes.
Are
you in a position to advise?
I think this is a shocker.
Are you in a position to advise the government what is going on?
Here, in your presence, yes.
Sir?
In your presence, yes.
You mean on TV?
On TV, yeah. I used to, but certainly I have seen that getting access to those in government is not that easy.
Even for someone like you, who goes
Like
back
me,
a long way with the leading figures.
We certainly have been friends with Buhari for many years, but not this time when he came back as head of state. The group that is in charge are different.
You fought very hard for Gombe State to be created as a state. Are you satisfied with the result, with what is going on at the state level?
I loudly say yes. Yes, because all those factors that we believed and complained about were what forced us to look for our own state.
But there are complaints about white elephant projects, like the airport, which is hardly used.
Hardly what?
Hardly used.
No,
whether it's really commercially viable.
Whoever said the airport is hardly used is not correct.
Okay.
We live here.
Yeah, I know. That's
and
why
now
I asked.
we know that from Gombe we fly directly to Jeddah for Saudi Arabia. And it is not done once or twice.
In terms of priority to the state.
Well, at least the government funds, public funds have been used.
Yes.
To build, and the project has been useful because it's given the service, and also there are people, some who have been employed there. Then what better do you have for? I mean, there are other states who are not better endowed. They are either.
People say there are airports nearby in Bauchi. In terms of the number of flights and the viability.
Well, interestingly, I believe that we now, unless it has changed today, but I know at least we have daily flights from Gombe into Gombe, in and out of Gombe. And in many cases, the planes will be about 80% full. And what better use do you have for not only that, the job, not only that, private jet people.
Since you retired, I know you went into politics a little bit, and but apparently you have quickly retreated. I don't see signs that you're as active, or is this something under the table that we don't know?
No, there's nothing under the table.
Yeah.
Everything is on top of the table.
Yes.
And I've done my own bit.
Yes.
I have tried to contact. I have contested.
Yes.
I have lost.
Yes.
No problem. That's life.
Did it hurt you? Did you losing an election?
Hurting. You don't say yes or no, but certainly being human.
Yes.
You want something, you're going to get it. But failure, as far as I'm concerned, is not final. As far as I'm concerned, failure is not final. And you become a better person whenever you try something. And whenever you are trying, there are alternatives. You either pass or fail. And failure, as I said, is not something that you run away from. You try not to fail. But certainly you become a better person. And that's being a better person is why I am looking at the politics now. I have refused to take anybody's card now, except I once upon a time, 3-4 years ago, took the APC card. And I also took the PDP, because I brought the PDP here. And we didn't win, but later it won.
Yes.
So, no hard feelings at all.
Yes.
But I am glad that you have a Gombe state, and with all modesty, I think we are contributing our very best to the development of our country, Nigeria. I think this is what I am happy about in Gombe.
What do you do now that you are more or less retired?
Yes.
You are young, looking 84. What do you do occupying your time?
I don't know about the adjective young.
I say young looking, really.
Young looking.
Anybody looking at us.
Thank you.
Yes.
Young looking, yes. Maybe not young feeling. I am certainly not young. I cannot take my car to drive to Sokoto now as I used to be in those days, or to Lagos on my own in those days. No, I can't do it. But certainly creative of, a very active mind, brainstorming all the time, and having ideas. That I continue.
Do you do it in an association with others, Northern Elders Forum, such organizations that are still around?
I'm afraid no.
Yeah.
I do it mainly on my own. You've seen one of my friends who has come here.
Yes.
He has gone away. But certainly, since fortunately for me, I'm not only well known in this country, but I have also known a lot of people.
Do you do any farming? Which is normally retired?
Very much so.
Yes.
Very much so.
Yes.
I have. But I do my farming mainly to what I eat and what I give to my relations. I eat guinea corn, millet, beans, mainly. Because I eat beans. Then I do vegetables.
So it's not commercial, it's just for it's a hobby and to...
Well, it's not commercial. I have not sold it.
Yes.
Although in many cases I end up with some surplus, which I give out to some friends and to the needy. So, and some of our children have now taken over my big farms. They are busy doing it.
Yeah.
But I retained this farm here, which, by the way, I am turning into some kind of religious center.
Okay.
Because some more than 5 years ago, I built a mosque.
Do you still travel around the country or outside? Or
Outside, I finished my traveling, except going to Mecca and Medina. Those I like to go.
Okay.
But I have no intention or desire to go to European or American or anyone. I think, thank Allah, I think I can claim to say I've seen quite a lot.
How is family life for you?
Beautiful. Beautiful. Because God has blessed me with 19 children. I had Ata Ashara. 10 girls and 9 boys. Of all of these, the youngest daughter is in her final year in the university. She's in a university in her final year. The others, all the men, grown. Some of them are your colleagues. But the youngest, Yakubu, is also married. He's got a job. I've got 3 wives.
3 wives?
3 wives. And they make me very happy because we include a lot of comic situations. We're able to laugh at each other. The 4 of us, myself and 3 of them. You'll be surprised if you come to our circle because this house is very peaceful.
They don't gang up against you?
No, not anymore. not anymore. In fact, what we do now, it is a stage where I can snatch one of them. We fight against the other 2. Fight in course. So I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving me this kind of background. And but there is still, as I said, a lot to be done. For as long as you continue breathing, there's not the end of life.
Thank you very much, Sarkin Baiwi, for giving us all this time to go over your life. And we wish you long life and more ideas and work, as you said, for our nation, which still needs it. And thank you, viewers, for joining us in another episode of Reminiscences. I hope you enjoyed it as I did, and you join us another time. Goodbye.